are here in Galilee, driving down the road. Say hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
A small town on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, Capernaum, or Capernaum in Hebrew, was the earthly home base of Jesus and his ministry. This small town of around 2,000 was where Jesus called home. As we walk through the ruins of the city, you see that it has been completely destroyed. Why is this? Let's dig a little deeper and find out what we can learn. Capernaum was established in the Bronze Age roughly 3,000 years ago. It is most known in the time of Jesus for its rabbinic schools and was also a fishing village. Some of the main attractions today are the Byzantine-era synagogue built over the very synagogue that was there in the time of Jesus, and a small Byzantine-era church over what was believed to be the Apostle Peter's house. To give a little history from the time of Jesus, we will look at some of the rabbinic traditions. The city's citizens were of the Pharisees. These were conservative Jews whose distinguishing doctrine was that they believed in the resurrection, unlike the temple class of Sadducees. Amongst the Pharisees, it was common for a rabbi or teacher to hand-select his disciples. It all started when a Jewish family chose one of their children to study Torah and Tanakh, or what we know today as the Old Testament and the Talmud, or the oral tradition handed down from rabbis from generation to generation. These children would become students of the Word, studying day and night. They were given to God, and we see this similar picture in the boy Samuel serving in the tabernacle from his youth. As time would continue, some students would excel and even memorize portions or even the entire Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses revealed at Mount Sinai. After some time, a young student would begin following rabbis as they taught going throughout Israel, learning about God. At some point, a rabbi would select the brightest young students to be disciples. The rabbi would then ask this young man a lot of questions about the Bible until he was satisfied. Many students would wash out and go on to learn a trade and make a living in traditional farming or fishing. For the few who passed, they would continue for many years until the rabbi was satisfied that the disciple had learned all he needed. He was then sent forth to make disciples of his own. Now, this tradition went on for generations from the time of the Babylonian captivity up to the time of Jesus. What makes Jesus unique in this tradition is he went to men who perhaps had been with some famous rabbis, but as we read, they were fishing. So they must have been washouts. It is obvious Jesus used the cultural tradition of the day in choosing disciples, but I find it interesting that we do not hear that Jesus followed anybody other than his Father in heaven. Why is this important? Because God has called all of us to follow him. He himself spoke the words, calling no man Rabbi, because we have one Father in heaven. Anybody who calls on the name of Yeshua will be saved, from the least to the greatest. Now, at the end of his ministry, we read that Jesus condemns this city to ruin. Why? Because these heard the truth but did not continue in it. Jesus says in these words, "And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted to heaven, shall be thrust down to hell." What a lesson for us today. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear.